I'd like to call to order the Statesboro City Council February 18th 5:15 meeting, please. I would like to ask Councilman Travis Chance to please lead us in an invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
I hate to do this on the spot, but we have in attendance Reverend Lee. Reverend Lee, would you mind leading us in the invocation? I hate to put you on the spot.
All right, let's all stand if you would. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this evening, this opportunity to be at another council meeting. Eternal God, our Father, we pray for these our city officials, that they will lead this city in the direction that you would have it to go. We ask, Eternal God, you bless everyone that's here tonight to witness and also to transact the business such as come to the city at this time. Please, sir, we ask all of these and other blessings in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to begin the meeting with some recognitions and public presentations. I would like to ask Ms. Carrie Howard to step forward, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Mrs. Mayor, will you please join me?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Mayor, on behalf of the high school community,
Yes, ma'am.
Resource Development Organization, I will present a certificate of recognition to you, the Honorable Jan Moore, February 18th, 2014, and recognition of accomplishments as the first woman elected to the city of Statesboro under the oath of office taken January 14th. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that very much.
Besides, with this, I am here again to invite you and council to our community. We need a working relationship with the city council, mayor, and all that is involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to thank you again, Ms. Howard, very much for that, and for your kind invitation. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Thank you.
Our second recognition today will be recognition of the Statesboro Police Department in the Morris Street Rescue.
I've been asked by council to recognize these individuals from the police department. On February 1st, 2014, Statesboro Police Department arrested a suspect for armed robbery, burglary, and assault. It was a gentleman who made a forced entry into a residence on Morris Street, armed with a weapon. He kind of arrested a 61-year-old female. During this time, the victim actually was able to escape outside of the home. However, the officers came and arrived and secured the scene. Actually, Statesboro Officer Casey Thomason was one of the first on the scene and located the victim behind the home. He was able to attend to the victim as well as arrest the individual assaulted female. And this is definitely exemplary of our Statesboro Police Department. They do things like this every single day, and we're definitely proud of what they do. This was a culmination of a whole entire shift work on this effort. What I was going to do is call each one of those individuals. Once call all those individuals, and we could congratulate them all at the end instead of individually. First individual I'd like to call up is Officer Casey Tomlinson. These are from the Mayor and Council on behalf of the efforts to Morris Street Rescue. Officer Ricardo Moreno. Officer Elizabeth Johnson. Thank you. Corporal Nick Davis. Sergeant Randy Powell. Okay. Yes, that is correct. He is on his video. That is correct. And Detective Kevin Watley. Mayor, is there anything you want to say?
Thank you, thank you for your service. Congratulations on your recognition and the good job that you did. Okay, next on our agenda is a consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, and D. Do I have a motion from council to approve the consent agenda?
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The consent agenda is unanimously passed. Item 6 is, I'm going to reword this a little bit. I'm going to ask for a planning and development to update and report to council regarding the October 15th, 2013 council approval for temporary location of L&D produce at Highway 80. If any action needs to be taken, we will at that time consider a motion to take action. Can you go ahead, please, Mandy?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. On October 15th, this body granted an extension for a temporary vendor permit for the L&D produce location on Highway 80 across from Lowe's. The instructions that we received from council was to communicate that extension to the business owner in writing and to set some milestone dates that the applicant needed to achieve. We did that as we were asked to do. We had a number of communications with Mr. Gerald, including a right start meeting, and he's been advised in writing of what all needed to occur and the timelines for that. Some of the interim deadlines were met, some were not. Ultimately, the deadline was established for February the 15th by the vote of this council for all qualifications necessary to achieve a business license, an occupational tax certificate, and all that that entails was to be received by Mr. Gerald by February 15th. That has not happened. They have not met the requirements that were necessary to get a certificate of occupancy. for that particular location. So we just want to bring that back and ask for further instructions.
So you're saying that the temporary permit has expired?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What in particular have they not
There are a
completed?
number of things that are enumerated in a letter dated November 22nd. I can certainly share that, but it's about 2 pages. It involves some life safety issues, it involves some plumbing code issues, it involves an issue with a water tap. So there are a number of pretty significant issues that have not been resolved.
Is he indicating to y'all, or the business owner indicating to you that he's moving forward on these, or has there been very little communication since this? It seemed to me when he was here, he was very clear, this was a 6-month, I'm gonna try it, and see if it works, I don't wanna spend $30,000, whatever the number gave us.
There has been communication between the department and the business owner. Like I said, he's attended a Right Start. He's been involved with our project manager. He submitted plans. She sent him review sheets that were necessary and the details on that. He even stopped by the office a couple of weeks ago and left a message for me that he intended to meet all the deadlines that were necessary. So that was the message I received. It seems that all the communications we have received are very positive and the intentions were there. Unfortunately, they have not been met by the date that was established at the last vote of this body.
I might make one comment. He talked with me as well and indicated that he was working with the property owner to finalize proper access to DOT for that. And I don't know if it's one of the conditions, but I know the property owner had some better conditions and just getting over those. And but he indicated to me that he was working with that property owner to square the proper access for DOT. And basically implied that he was moving forward with the project, but that's, like I said, it's not a couple of weeks.
Well, when we say moving forward, are the items he's asked for, are they requesting building permit type things?
Yes.
Has he requested any building?
He did file an application for building permit. He did not, he met the initial deadline, if I remember correctly. I have my notes, and reference my notes and tell you exactly. So the initial deadline that's communicated to him in a letter of October 17 was to turn in an application for a building permit by November 1st. He turned that in on November 13th. The second milestone was that all necessary requirements for the building permit to be issued and complete was December 1st. That deadline was missed. And then from December 1st until January 15th, he was supposed to have all necessary improvements completed, a certificate of occupancy, and a business license obtained. That has not been completed either.
Is he any closer to achieving all what you just said today than he was on October 15th, 2013?
Not significantly so.
And so as of today, he is operating, as of the 15th, he's operating without
Any city approvals for that.
How long has he been operating under a temporary total?
I believe that would be about 9 months. The original grant of permission from council was for 6 months, and then that was extended an additional 90 days
When was that extended?
at the October 15th meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Mayor, he came in at that time and talked to us a good bit, kind of laid out things and why he couldn't, and really was very plain, hey, I don't want to spend this money if it's not going to work.
You said it was October 15th?
Yes, ma'am.
Then he expired January 15th. He didn't expire February 15th, if it's 90 days.
I think you're right, but the letter gave him, it did say February 15th, so if we made an error, we gave him the benefit of that doubt.
Okay, I just want to make clear how long you've been
An
operating.
additional 120.
Did
Yeah,
council say February? Maybe council said February, and I misspoke on that.
okay. I mean, I just want to be clear how long it's been.
My understanding, the council did establish that date.
So at this point, the question begs, do you want to extend another extension?
Is the client asking for an extension?
No, sir, we have not had any communication with him since
What authority do we have to give an extension he didn't ask for?
True.
So if we take no action and move to the next agenda item, his business license just expires?
Correct.
Okay.
And that would then be incumbent upon us to enforce the fact that there's an operation there that is not licensed properly to be there.
I want to know what his intent is. If he intends on putting a permanent structure out there and wants a permanent business license, I mean, get something from him. Can you get something from him in writing saying?
Councilman, we have met with the gentleman a number of times. We've counseled him. We've had a right start. We've communicated the revisions that were necessary to his applications in writing.
And it's just not going anywhere anyway?
His intentions are always very positive. He intends to be there, and he intends to cooperate, he intends to meet the regulations. I don't question his intentions, but the deadlines have been established and they have not been met. So we felt it necessary to bring it back.
Has he met a single deadline since October 15th for that extension? Has he met a single deadline?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Have we done this since Mandy has been here? Have we done this for any other business owners?
Not that comes to mind at the moment, Councilman, no.
Next agenda item.
Okay. Okay.
Frank, you said he came in a couple weeks ago? This is
Pardon?
You said he came in a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
So he was aware of the deadline then?
Pardon?
This is not a surprise to him?
The only thing we really talked about was that he worked out with the property owners to put in that access required by DOT. And that compliance, he was moving forward with no specifics.
Mandy, would you reach out to Mr. Gerald and explain to him that if he would like to come in and bring us a timeline, a concrete timeline, we would be more than happy to reconsider this?
I will.
But at this point, I'm with Councilman Boyd that we cannot ask for a motion to extend something that has not been asked to be extended.
Right.
Okay. So moving to item 7, which is a consideration of a motion to approve the agency agreement with Georgia Technology Authority, which is attached to your agenda. Does Mr. Tatum with IT want to speak to this item? Okay. Do I have a motion from council? Jeff to do it? The Georgia Technology, do I have a motion from council to approve the agency agreement with Georgia Technology Authority? Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion of this? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, consideration of a motion to approve the addition of 3 line firefighters to the fire department's authorized personnel. Mr. Turner.
You guys want one day to kick me out of here?
No.
You are a regular visitor.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you the first note.
You don't have to read the whole thing, just give us the highlights.
Yeah, did you guys review what was in your packets?
Yes.
It's a really good memo from Chief Brand and Deputy Chief Shaw about the position of the fire department as it currently sits today, which is pretty good. If you recall back in 2000, we had an ISO review in which the ISO grade was a 3/9, and in that review it actually said that we would staff with basically 4 companies we would actually responding to. But since then, with the additions that you guys are gracious enough to give us, we've actually gotten that up to where it needs to be as far as 2004. What this will do is this will allow us to alleviate a lot of the issues that we're having right now with overtime, and giving us more leeway as far as having some floaters in between the shifts to raise our minimum staff. This is just the next leg of what we've been planning to do for the last 3 years. The reason we haven't done it thus far is we wanted to make sure that the money was coming into the fire fund as we predicted it would come into the fund, or forecasted it would come into the fund. And it looks like that's the case. I've just spoken to Cindy, and she said she received an upship from the county to county money to the fire fund as far as the tax, the tax millage rate. And I believe there's money in the fund to cover these 3 additional positions. Without reading this, as Councilman Bull requested, The 3 additional positions will allow us to bring our full staffing up to a complement of 14, and we would ask that the minimums be left at 11. And that will allow us to actually have guys that can take vacation or sick time or actually go to training without impacting that overtime budget. And Chief Grant is actually to answer any questions directly related to our overtime budget with the fire department, but it has taken a severe hit. And we believe with these last additions, it will really help alleviate the overtime market. And the fire department can sustain these additions, these three additions. City Manager Frank Parker has been very well aware of what it would want to do with the fire department. And this is by no means won't be the last time I come up here to ask for additional personnel. Once we start looking at the substation plans, which are right around the corner, which we do have funding set aside in the SPLOST 13 to actually add a substation or 2 out in the outlying areas of the city, we will be back from you guys, depending on the funding balance, to see if we can add a little more staff to those substations. Right now, as I told you guys some 4 years ago, the fire department was in desperate need of personnel. And we have actually built the personnel line levels up pretty good. And this will actually help us even more.
And to address that issue about the new station as we build it, my understanding this will take us up to a level that we can sustain the personnel we need until that station is complete. At that point in time, we will need to add a minimum of 3, possibly 6 additional personnel, but not until that point in time, correct?
That's correct. That's right. That's
So we won't be back asking until you see a new fire station sitting there, or anticipation of that station.
What's the projected yearly cost on 3? It's about 40,000 in benefits.
About, I would say probably around 45,000.
Each.
Salary pension, that's everything.
Now, what kind of an impact is this going to have on overtime?
Yeah, that was my next question. If you're spending $135,000 on 3 people, what are you taking out of every time?
So like, this is like save 30%, you're still spending
It'd be
more
nice
money.
to say 130-ish.
I cannot. And I will tell you that I've made Mr. Grant's head hurt with the conversations that I've had. And the best way that we felt to present the overall numbers would be in over the past several years. For example, in 2007, we had a total of 1,134 overtime hours. And the next significant change was in 2011 when we had to make those staffing increases for the ISO. It jumped to 2210. And this year, 2013, past year, we're at 4697. That's just overtime hours.
4,700 hours? 4,700 hours?
At what per hour?
Well, that's the $1 million question, because each of those guys have a different rate.
Literally, maybe more than that.
Well, you got to have some kind of aggregate
Very
rate.
significant.
What would your lowest rate be?
1041.
And then you've got tax and et cetera on top of that, so just
18 bucks an hour.
$15 to $18. So you're at $18 at how many hours?
4697.
47 hours. You're almost $1 million. What do you?
About 800.
No, 800.
Yeah, there you go.
800.
Yeah, the projections I was looking at, and maybe Jeff can answer, it looks like we're going to maybe cross the 100,000 threshold with overtime this year.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah,
Something's not adding up.
Yeah, $85,000 for it.
We were
Are we gonna be able to cut all of that overtime, you think?
No, sir.
How much can we get it?
We believe that a very conservative would be by half. Very conservative.
So we could possibly pay for one position by itself.
Well, no, not if it's 4,700 hours.
4,697 hours for 2000.
It's about $85,000.
Times $18 an hour, so $85,000.
That is the numbers that we around that.
You're saying you cut that in half at least?
Yes, sir.
Well,
We believe, simply because what's happening in the addition, as Director Turner stated, was what happens is that when we increase that number to 11, it only allows for us to have 2 folks off. So if you have somebody off on training, and then somebody calls in sick, and then you have one other folk off, which happens right regularly, you end up in that overtime. The other thing that's happened is that every shift was consistently, we have those Kelly days, which is supposed to, is to eliminate, the built-in overtime of the 24/48 schedule. Those guys were working. So I ended up suspending it simply because of the staffing, because they were getting called in anyway. This will allow us that additional flexibility to allow those folks to be able to manage, so we can just put back in the Kelly days, start getting this under control. And again, the big picture is it's another step toward those staffing needs when we add those additional stations. So that's what it really boils down to. Is it does have an impact now, but it's also a tremendous step down the path that we need to continue as far as getting the overall goal is to lower the FDI. So eventually, I do believe that is a realistic goal for the city to lower it to a 2, and I do believe we can get there. But this is going to be a big hurdle for us, for sure.
Any other discussion?
Is that much money you got in the reserve?
We were just talking about that. Last time we looked at it was a little over 400,000.
And how much you've been putting in the reserve each year?
It's been varying. This year, we actually used 100,000 in reserve for supplement.
My question is,
Supplement what, sorry?
Supplementing the operational budget. We actually pulled out of reserve. We always want to carry over around 200,000. Is about our target number to carry over year for year. It's been high, and we've actually started utilizing that for offset operations.
Point out too, also, we negotiated the Final Fire Agreement, we eliminated the deduction that was being made, was not being made now. That should bring us up to
$10,000 a month.
All right, so next year, I guess when we're having any sort of discussion, you went from 1,100 to 2,200 to 4,600, and we're about to give you 6,000 hours and 3 people, but we're not adding any more fire protection. I'm just saying, if we do that, I'm okay with that. I mean, we agree that the 11's going to set baseline.
For right now.
For right now. So if 11 stays, so we're hiring 3 people, spend 135,000, not adding any more protection.
Right.
But we're going to lower the 4697. Now, it's my understanding though that the firemen they have X amount of hours built in.
They do.
And what is that?
4 hours of overtime,
For what?
28 days. So.
Times how many firemen? That's 4 times 13, times how many
We're at
firemen?
45 now. 40, well, right.
Not everybody.
37 line folks.
So that's 1,924, plus these 3.
That's correct.
So, yeah, I'm not saying I don't have a conventional vote, but if overtime goes much over 1,924, we're going to do 2 of y'all about to become firemen.
Well, if you look 2007, 1134, 2008, 1441, 2009, 1400, 1556. So yeah, as you add those, the other variable that is really hard to predict, Councilman, is the callbacks of fire, structure fire,
Right.
because again, the standard that we are trying to meet, we still have to utilize the callback of full-time guys, because we are trying to assemble, 18 folks within the first 8 minutes of that call.
But these hours, by and large, are not due to fires. They're just due to the fact that you need administrative coverage due to training and or sickness or vacation.
So what do you anticipate the overtime hours to be, or will be, when you add these 3 firemen? When you come back up here a year from now, after adding them, you'll say, what do we predict, and what do you think the overtime will be?
and you suggest you may cut it, the 3 additions may cut it in half?
We feel that because simply if you take,
We got time? We all made a zero error a minute ago, so we got plenty of time.
Yeah. It's after 5, we got a little away.
I'm just saying, we know, you're telling me automatically we will have 1,924 hours. There's no doubt. That's 4 hours per 13 times 45. Pretty much
4 hours per guy, 13 pay periods.
That's
for availability.
37.
1924.
That's your typical 24/48 hour schedule.
So basically 2,000.
Right.
Okay.
And what our goal is would be to, the only other overtime would be things such as the quarterly drills, which are 4 hours, which are required as an ISO for us to get together for 4 hours. So that's another, 16 hours a year.
What you're getting at is this will eliminate most of the unnecessary overtime.
Unnecessary, yes, sir. That's the main point, yes, sir. The working over because somebody called in sick at the last minute.
25/16.
That's right. There's about 2,700 hours in there that's over the 24/48 schedule. That's typical overtime, not your scheduled overtime, not the 24/48. So it's about 2,700. If you divide that in half, if we were able to cut that, then you'd be cutting 1,350 hours. So you're pretty close.
So you're gonna pay for these firefighters then with one, reduced overtime,
I think it's going to help impact overtime.
and two, the additional money that we're getting from the county.
So we're gonna save that, but then what's the other, I guess, what's the other benefit we're getting, let's say, from the other two firemen? One's gonna be covering the hours, what are the other two firemen benefiting?
The other benefit is the step toward that staffing because as we stated, on other occasions, Statesboro, the staffing, the companies that we are running, the NFPA standards and the best practices is 4 per company. Well, if you take, we have 4 companies, that's 4 plus the battalion chief, and then you have to account for those vacation things. So we estimate anywhere from 23 to 25 per shift. So it's a step in that long-term goal as the city is able to sustain that. We understand that that's just not going to happen overnight, and we certainly understand that. But we always want to continue to move forward toward that goal. So it will be, it's just a step in that overall service improvement to get to that ISO 2.
Two's hard.
But
That's the way to look at it. It's a jump for 2.
Yeah, we were only a little over 2 months away. Pretty close.
They're gonna be a significant, I know that's a great,
It will be for
significant money.
most significant will be commercial.
Okay.
Most significant will be commercial. Yes, sir.
And that's also very attractive for your development for the city.
Okay.
We will be in the top 2%. That's top 3%, top 3%.
And my question is going to be, how sustainable is it keeping these 3 new ones on? I hate for in 3 years to come back and say, well, we can't really afford them, and have to either
And that's all.
put them on part-time or?
Right, that's been the huge question and the source of discussion. We feel confident. Obviously, I would not ask the director to stand up here and before you guys and ask if the plan was to keep them on for a few and then let them go for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's enough funding coming in to the fire fund, especially with us getting the money back from the county. That for us to feel confident to go up here and say, it can certainly, the fund can certainly sustain the additional treatment. And still have some fund balance to carry over year to year, like we're like, or something that may come up, catastrophic failures, like that. But as you guys know, we've asked a lot of council in the city, taxpayers, but it has been a lot of work to get where it is today. And I'll be honest with you, it's still not done. It was that far behind the personnel and staffing, and that's the most expensive thing you guys put on is staffing. And we're doing our best to fix it. And the study that we had done from the folks out of Dublin was very specific in the shortcomings and things we need to fix, and the main thing was personnel. You got a lot going into ISO, NFPA, you got a lot of regulations that are being looked at when you look at a fire department. And we were woefully behind. And now we're actually doing pretty good.
We've made a tremendous gain.
Coming out of that meeting, we talked about 2 purchases, which we did. then we talked about hiring 6 people. Is this 3 of the 6, or is this 6 more, is this 3 more on top of the 6, meaning 9?
It depends, because answer that.
We talked about, in the ISO, sitting with those guys, it says.
What you go to each station, we need a minimum of 3 additional, a minimum. But we possibly can handle with 3 additional. We really need to be an ideal situation. As Tim said, we need to be at 17 per shift, that's 51, plus 6 staff, which is 50, whatever, 7, plus 2 admin, 59.
How many have we hired in the past since ISO study?
We have added 3 since the ISO study.
And this is the second 3.
That is my understanding, was when the last time when we talked about 6, the 3 guys went into the budget. We were going to hold off until the new year just to make sure that funding.
I remember being told to maintain the 3. These are the things we promised. We had to do. This is the second. This is 3. Take the 6. This is not going into 9.
That is what we're asking for right now.
Okay.
So we're building another station, that's correct.
Well, yeah, we will.
And the reason we wanted to wait is we wanted to see what the funding balance is doing for the agreement with the county and what it's looking like as far as funding. We feel comfortable.
So this isn't beyond anything that's been discussed?
No.
That's what I was asking, to make sure that this is in the 6. Or at least that's what I'm told.
We're not going to talk about the 9 right now.
No.
We're not discussing the 9.
This Councilman Britt, this is going to, what I've always told Mr. Frank is this is going to square us away until we look at expanding, meaning stations. This is going to give us our staffing, this is going to give us our numbers to where we can deliver the level of service in which we've been rated. And when we add stations will be the next time that we really need to look at staffing, because again, we feel possibly, depending on what the city, how it grows and things, 3, but it could be up to 4 stations. So again, those are all things that change over time depending on what the city does, the growth, where it kind of comes out, things such as that. And then also the district. It's always got to be kept in the back of our minds as well when we plan for that kind of stuff.
Because even with 5 miles, we've got to stand in.
So to clarify what Mr. Parker said then, this is either to get you where you need to be to stay still, or to get you ready to move forward. Which is it?
This is to get us to be able to sit still, to leave you guys alone for a little while. That is the way I would look at it.
Okay.
The person.
Is that administrative blackmail? Is that what you're saying?
Take it as you will. Again, I do not foresee the need to come back before the council and ask for any additional personnel until Station 3. We start moving and actually get ready to man it, not just build it, but to man it.
You know this meeting is being filmed. Okay.
Well, in that case, has the county been consulted?
Yes.
I'd not be in a,
None of this, but that's interesting. I was going to ask that question next. You guys have.
We for Station 3.
Yes.
Yeah, Station 3. We have not gotten together on that official meeting yet.
Take 10 5-mile district. We'll try.
See your blood pressure going up.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
All right, so we have made contact. We have, and to be honest with you, the answer was they were wanting to wait after the election. So the election's over.
Can you come asking for money?
The invitation's been extended, it's been accepted, we just got to work out how we can.
You want to point out, we're talking about personnel. As you know, we're running back the Grady Street Station, and we will be bringing back shortly a proposal for phase 2 of that station, but that's all out of splash dollars. It's all been set aside for that project. So it won't be basically any money out of our general fund. It is splash dollars that were set aside for that renovation. That will be coming back shortly.
I guess the final thing is, when you have someone hired, they're hired for X, but they still get 4 hours every 28 days, over 4 days. Why 4 hours? Well, why?
Because, okay.
I mean,
The way the
we're about to
24
hand you
works,
3 new
we
people.
get
They
to-
can't work those 4 hours?
What's that?
We're about to hand you 3 new people. They can't work those 4 hours?
It's, I will,
Well,
you know, Jeff is really good at that.
These 4 hours,
Basically,
this is
what
the
it
Kelly
is,
hours, right?
We can't give them
4 hours
one more
to Kelly
holiday,
hours,
give
right?
them one more holiday every 6 months?
The way
That cuts out one full day.
The way the schedule is that on 2448, the fire department, you know, there's some exemptions for public safety and the Fair Labor Standard. In a 28-day pay period, we can work up to 212 hours. Okay, and the 2448 schedule, firefighters work 216 hours. Okay, now, because of the way the 28 days fall, each month, one of those shifts works 10 shifts instead of the 9 shifts. That's where Kelly days come in. So everybody that is on that 10-shift rotation has to take an unpaid day off, which is a Kelly day. Right now, what we're doing is because to maintain that 11, we've had to suspend the Kelly days simply because they were being suspended by default. We were having to call guys in anyway, so we just made it a little easier and said, you know, this is kind of pointless. We've got to do it. The other thing, Councilman Britt, is that this growth has certainly caused some growing pains for us. I don't know in 3 years if we have had all our positions filled completely for more than, you know, a few months, simply because of us just being so young, or, you know, folks not making it through their probation and things. Because the one thing that did change when the administration at the fire department took place was the standards and the expectations went way up. And I think that that's a testament and is reflected in the ISO, because while we maintain our 3, which is, you know, it's awesome, but we actually lowered the split, which is unheard of. And it's all due to training and equipment and, you know, those types of things. So, again, big picture is we want to meet those NFPA standards to be able to get to that too. We want to provide the best level of service for what, you know, our citizens basically can withstand. And you know, at this point, we feel that these 3 have basically 2 main benefits. One is it's going to help offset the overtime that is becoming a monster. And then it also is a step into the big picture, final staffing, service, delivery picture long term.
If you say you have to pay overtime to do that, I get it. If it wasn't for the Kelly days, it'd be a lot. Ice cream truck there.
Any further discussion from council?
And just so I can, Mr. P, I think you hit on this. This will be the last time I'm up here aggravating about personnel. I can't promise about other stuff. But you guys have been great. We appreciate the support. We're trying to get this thing turned around, so this is the next step for us.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a consideration of a motion from council to approve the addition of 3 line firefighters to the fire department's authorized personnel? Do we have a motion to approve that from council?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'm going to back up on the agenda a little bit because I inadvertently passed over agenda item 4, which is public comments. Ms. Starling, Ms. Sue, do we have any? Okay. So moving back up to the place where we left, which is agenda item 9. A consideration of a motion to approve ordinance 2014-01, which is an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 6 of the Statesboro Code of Ordinances, alcoholic beverages, specifically drive-through sales. Do I have a motion from council to approve ordinance 2014-01?
I'll move the table ordinance 2014-01.
I'm gonna stop here, Councilman Bourne, and see if we have a second on the first. If not, we can do a table. Okay? Do I have a second on the first motion? We have to ask.
There was no motion. My motion
I mean,
is
do we not have a motion to do it? Okay, then go ahead.
motion to table item number 9, and we can discuss it if there's a second. Yeah.
Okay. All council can tell me who approves. Please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Nay? None. So we have a motion to table ordinance 2014-01. Okay?
Could be wrong. I think you just passed that motion, so we tabled item 9.
Well, I mean, we have a motion. We passed a motion to table. Okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay.
Do we have any other business from City Council?
3 items, Mayor.
Okay.
First, I need a motion to establish the budget retreat. The recommended date at last council meeting was discussed was April 14. Ms. Cindy, 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
At 9 o'clock, and just need to establish that and the motion to do so.
What day will that fall? On Monday?
I'm sorry, that's April.
Monday, April 14th. Do we have a motion from council to do that? To establish that for April 14th at 9 a.m.
Hold on, you gotta go into their iPhone to see if they can do it.
Now,
I'm good.
we talked about this last time.
I did. It's on my phone.
I move to approve April 14th.
Do we have a second?
Said April 14th is the budget day. I'll second that. Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Where are we gonna have it? Where is it?
Somewhere secret, I'm sure.
Is there a plan? Do we need to go ahead and do that in the motion? Or are we okay to not do that?
We had the last,
Anywhere we plan on doing it?
We had left right here.
Yeah.
the last we had here, and we may establish a different location, but I assume right now we're establishing it for here, unless we come up with a better recommendation of the council. We just have to establish the date at this point in time.
Correct. 9 o'clock.
Prior to that, on that date, we'll have 2 more meetings, and if we want to discuss different locations, we certainly can do that. But right now, I'm saying we will just say that it's going to be council chambers unless the council approves a different location.
The public does tend to line up for that budget retreat.
Farmhouse? Yeah, farmhouse? Send out 7 invitations.
Okay, Mr. Parker, what's your second item?
Second item is, first we'd like to address briefly is, we all know we had a weather situation that rolled in. Our folks did an extremely good job, and with that, I think the city engineer, Mr. Cheshire, would like to address that briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. I thought overall our community weathered the winter storm event fairly well. I think that a lot of it was based on the preparedness of our community as a whole, especially emergency services and public works and the like. Of course, some of it's attributed to the fact that the storm didn't get us as bad as it did to some of those counties to the north and to the west of us. But still, I feel like we were ready. Public works crews, along with public safety, worked through the night and through the next day. Primarily, the ice caused a lot of limbs and trees to be down, and so most of our work was removing and getting the debris cleared from the roads, but it also involved a lot of traffic control because they had a lot of power outages because of the limbs falling. So that meant traffic signals are out, so some road closures, detours, a lot of work, and I think we worked well with public safety in that aspect. I thought that went real well. Again, we learned some lessons just like we did 3 weeks ago when we had the last one, but I do feel like we're pretty prepared. As far as cleaning up the debris now, we're really in the assessment mode and documentation mode, because if we cross, since it was declared a disaster county, we are eligible for reimbursement on certain for certain items, but that really depends if the costs go across a certain threshold. So we're putting those numbers together, and that could be anything from overtime, equipment usage. In our case, Public Works, it's debris removal and disposal, so we keep up with all that documentation and then we report that as a county, and we'll see where that goes, but hopefully we'll get some reimbursement for that. As far as picking it up in the city, we got all the roads cleared pretty quick the next day, especially after power. We couldn't do anything when there were power lines down. You can't do anything until the power company comes in and gets them out of the way, and then we clean them up. We got most of that removed, but we're starting to see obviously a lot of debris put in the right-of-ways from the private properties, which is fine. But our crews have hit it real hard, and we hope by Saturday to make one full loop around the city, and then we'll start our second. So they're working very hard, and real proud of how hard they worked really during this whole time. On a related note, we sent 2 crews today along with several county crews to Screven County to help them clear some more of their roads, and they've got a lot of debris that's, if it's not in the road, it's right up against the road, because they just did what they could to begin with. They don't have the resources that we do, and so we sent a couple crews over there. I can't tell you how appreciative they are that those crews showed up. We did check with the city of Millen when the county decided that they would head to Screven first. We went ahead and called the city of Millen and Jenkins County to see if they needed any help. Fortunately for them, they were able to get some resources from the National Guard and I think the forestry over the weekend and got their roads clear. So the superintendent for Jenkins County and the city of Millen were very appreciative. Again, you know, you can hear it in their voices, and they appreciate it. But they said they were good to go ahead and send everybody towards Screven County. So that's what they did, and they'll be there. They were there today, probably be there tomorrow, and probably Thursday. We'll go back in. That's it.
Are we able to recoup some money from them going to Screven County since it's not actually in Bullock County? And okay,
That's just a courtesy.
Okay.
If we need them, they'll reciprocate.
Yeah.
Same kind of like fire with a mutual aid agreement.
It's a good question.
Share resources.
Are you going to do any adjustments to the monthly pickup of debris?
When you say adjustment, it says in.
You're just adjusting the schedule, or are you trying to hit all the big piles and then come back and hit all the little piles?
We're pretty much.
I can imagine debris levels are up quite a bit.
We're pretty much hitting every street. We'll just be a few days behind. But from what I heard from the landfill today, as it's coming in, I asked that question, and we're expecting 500 to 600 tons probably. And we're doing about 200 tons in the last couple of days. We usually do about 50 tons in a week. So we are, we're slower, but we're getting around. So minor adjustments, but I think we'll be good.
And then any suggestions from you, from staff, to the people that are putting all their stuff on the side of the road?
Just to, keep it in reasonable piles that we can pick up size-wise, and try to keep it obviously out of the roadway, which is hard to do. But I think we'll get around quick enough that we won't see a lot of problems. I mean, the quicker we can get around, the less problem we have if we have a storm, rain event or something. That will cause problems. So that's a good question.
Item 3, just like to point out a lovely young lady sitting behind Mr. Baldry. My wife, she chose to join us on our 30th anniversary today, and I just want to say thank you for she chose to be with y'all for our anniversary.
It is a person to not choose to be here.
That's no matter.
I got one thing. I do want to tell the fire department thank you. We actually had a house catch on fire across the street from my house. The fire department was there immediately, almost instantaneously, it seemed like. Very little damage to the house. They are going to be able to save the structure. It's not something that was lives were in danger, but the fire department was very courteous, and they did a great job. So I should have been under public comment, but I want to go ahead and at least acknowledge that. You guys did a great job.
Okay, we'll move to our public comment section. Ms. Sue, do we have anybody who wishes to make a public comment?
I don't think we have anybody scheduled, but I think Ms. Carey is
I was getting to Ms. Carey.
interested in filling that slot.
Go ahead.
I am very moved by the officers of the fire department. We've had 3 times in our community, and the 4 months ago, we're blessed we had no fatalities. Our community looks like a part of Sierra Leone, West Africa now. And with the structures that burned down, one is rebuilding. I don't know what the other is going to do. But I just praise these firemen for the good job on time, and they seem like they are really trying to save whatever, whoever, they are. To me, firemen, you got my vote. And if I could wear one of the suits, I'd be riding there. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. She should have been part of y'all's presentation. I think you missed out a little bit on that one. Okay, I believe that's all. Do we have a motion to adjourn from council? Second? All in favor? Meeting adjourned.